All right, so to start with, this is the VN platform. Once you log in, once you open the VN from your gallery over here, for example, you can come to your gallery and you can just type VN video editor. You can see it over here. Once you open it, this is where what you'll be welcomed with this platform. So what you see here is the photos section where you can have all your photos. You can have the stocks section, which is generally where I put in all my media, starting from video to audio to even photos or images. You can house them all over here. You can import them and keep them here. And then you have a bunch of elements. Later I will explain to you in details how to add elements from here, different kind of elements to make your editing process very nice. And then we have the text and titles. You have series of text features, which I'm going to show you how to use in a bit. And then we have music. You can use the available music and you can import your music also as well if you want. And then you have sound effects. They have different kind of sound effects from cartoons to fast switch to funny to machine to ringing. You can see a number of sound effects that you can use basically on your editing. This is the preview panel. This is the where you preview all your video settings, and then over here you have a number of features also as well, which I will explain as we navigate around. And then down here you have a number of settings and features as well that you can add. Once you select a particular clip, you will be able to have the features enabled. Okay, so and then you have the timeline over here. You have series of things to do in the timeline, but before we go deep into it, you can decide to play with the view and looks of the platform by coming over here. You can have different kind of views. You can have this one, you can have this one. Once you select, everything is going to be adjusted according to that particular feed, and you can change it to this if you want. You can just quickly, with just one click, you can adjust everything. And I think I like the first one, which is this one, having everything by default on the left side, which is the media panel, and then the preview panel, the timeline, and so on. And these are other features which we are going to learn how to use as well. Another one very important thing that I would like to show us is how to change the orientation of the video. Okay, so let's click out and then to come over here, down here to this small arrow, you have this original. This is the original. If you have other dimensions, other majors that you want to use, maybe you want to upload a video for an Instagram, for a TikTok, or for Facebook, or you have a specific dimension that you're targeting, you can always come over here. For YouTube, it's usually 16:9, and for Instagram, you can see we can have 1:1, we can have 4:5, we can have TikTok sizes as well. You can have 2:3, depending. And if you want to have another one, you can easily go ahead and just customize. So you can just go ahead and select the sizing, but for now we go with original, or we can go with 16:9, which is what I usually prefer for my YouTube channel. So to begin with, let's try to import a media into the bin. So I usually arrange my media in a file. I have mine arranged in this file on the YouTube, and then we have VN video editor. I have it over here, VN video editor. So the footage I'm going to use is this spend time with yourself. This is the video footage I'm going to use. And then we have the music. I classify them accordingly. We have music track, and then we have the B-rolls. Okay, the B-rolls could involve images and most likely videos. Okay, so I will show you how to use all these to make your editing process quite simple and straightforward. So to import a media, you can just go back to your VN editor, and then you come to this top tab over here, and you can come over here and just click on import stock, and just have these import tips. You can just say okay to this, and just navigate to select a given media that you want to import. For example, we'll start with a video. So we'll come to VN video editor. We import this video first. So click on open, and it's going to import it into the stock footage over here. As you navigate over it, you will be able to see the preview. Okay, as you just hover over the imported media, you'll be able to see the preview accordingly in the preview panel. And then we want to import maybe the other footage, maybe the B-rolls. For example, I can just come over, go to the B-rolls and import the images. So you select these two images and just say open, and it's going to bring them in. And then we can go back as well. Okay, the same place, and we can import the video this time around. So you can just come to the B-rolls, and then this time around the videos, select both of them, and then we can just click on open. Alternatively, you may still drag and drop this footage into the media bin. The music, I'm going to show you how to import the music much later. So what you do is, for a start, we just drag and drop a media footage. For example, we'll select this, and then we'll drag and drop it into the timeline. Okay, so you can see I just drop it and it comes into the timeline just like so. So one thing you should pay attention to when it comes to VN video editor is that the playhead is usually stuck at one place. You have to use your hand to kind of click and drag and move the media across the playhead for you to see the preview on the preview panel. So you have to move the media across for you to see the preview. So the playhead is usually on one spot. So you just cut across and then you see the preview of what you are having directly. So this is how to move and how to play and see the preview of what you have in the timeline. All right, so the next thing is we'll learn how to add graphics, or how to add different elements and graphics into the timeline. Okay, so assuming we want to add in some graphics, some elements, we can just come to the elements tab over here. You just click on elements and you have a series of things to add from. For example, you have lines, you have frames, you have arrows, different kind of colored arrows, you have different kind of new UI signs, and you can see a bunch of them, icons, different kind of flags, hearts. You can select this as such. You can search from recent ones that you've used, or from favorites if you've started any, and from local if you have any that you want to import, you can go ahead and import, or you can check on Giphy if you are connected. Once you are connected to the internet, you will have it connected to Giphy. So you can come to the different types down here. You have lines, you have arrows, you have colored arrows, you have new UI, you have spots. So whichever one you feel like, these are brushed shapes. Okay, these are ink sketches. So you can just check around coffee. Okay, these social, different kind of social and social media stuff. You can see travel, you can see love signs, you can see travel and birthday signs, filmed. Okay, different types. So you can just go ahead and explore and see what you can do, what you may want. Colored arrows, I usually use colored arrows. So on any of, if you select any of the elements, if you want to just insert it into the timeline, you can do that by specifying the position you want to insert. Assuming I want to insert it at this point, position the playhead over there and just select a given element. For example, this one, I can just click on this plus sign and it's going to add it at that exact position. So you can see it has added it. You can see the preview over here. So you have the option to close it, or you can zoom it, or you can just resize it and select it, drag it, move it around, and maybe position it to anywhere you want. Okay, so you can decide to extend, you can decide to rotate to showcase something. For example, I'm showcasing what I'm drinking, this tea, and you can just show it. You can see it over here. So another thing you can pay attention to is you can duplicate this and you can delete also from here very easily. And then down here you have different kind of options to play around with as regards this very element that you've brought in. For example, you could flip it, you can mirror it, you can do something like the split also and rotate, and you can do cropping as well from here. So but for now, let me show you how it works. For example, once you are here, you just move and explain, and then that arrow comes in and it stays on the board, showcasing or highlighting my T, and then it goes out, and then I continue to explain. So this is how to bring in different kind of elements. If you want to bring in others, you can come over here, select any, and just bring it and just insert, depending on what message you're trying to create and how relevant is what you have what is it going to add. Is it going to add any benefit, or is it going to bring in any professionalism to the work? You can easily select and add it. Alternatively, you can drag and drop into the timeline as well, and it's going to work the same way. So you can drag and drop, and then you have equal opportunity or equal footage accordingly. So you can just select, you can minimize and put it somewhere to just showcase my T and everything. Okay, so you can just come back here, showcase how the transition is and how it goes out. So this is how to add graphics and do some other key things to make sure you got your professionalism in the editing process. The next thing is I would like to show us how to do some basic editing of your footage. You can view the clip from the beginning to the end. You can just scroll around, or you can come to this clip view maximizer. You can increase the sizing, okay, to be able to, you can zoom it out to be able to see a particular place clearly, or you can zoom out, you can zoom in, or you can zoom out, so you can see everything within one clip. And as you hover over, you'll be able to see with your hand, you'll be able to see the preview. But in terms of if you are interested in seeing it according to the playhead, then you have to move the timeline accordingly across the playhead. So let's say we have everything here trimmed or shortened to one place. We have the video clip and we have the audio clip beneath it, and then over here we have the graphics, okay, we have the elements, and then we have the text layer over here, and then we have the music layer over here. So later I will show you how to use all of this in detail. Okay, so to do basic editing, you can start from basic trimming. So to trim a given audio video clip, you can just select it and come all the way to the edge of it, just like so, and just come to the edge and just click and drag. You can see you are trimming it. So trimming is actually different from cutting, because trimming, you are like cropping the clip. Later on, if you needed it or you need to have it enabled, you can always come to the edge and you can click and extend it to have your video footage enabled. So you can do that as well. And then you can do that from both sides. You can do from the left or from the right. Once you come to the edge and your cursor turns into something like this, you can easily trim around, and you can see you can trim edges, okay, until you get to where you want. Then you're going to release and you have it enabled. So that's trimming. You can do that from both sides with your cursor, or you can come all the way and select trimming, and then you can just go ahead. Let's pause it. You can go from trimming, and then you can select the edge over here and just move across. Okay, you can just move across, and you can move across also from the other edge. And once you're done with the trimming, you can always click on this small arrow, okay, to just signify that you've accepted everything, and you accept everything. Now with the trim feature, the sections you have trimmed are now trimmed. Another thing you can do is at any given point within the clip, you can cut. You can decide to create a cut, and then you can decide to move the clip around. So assuming I want to make a cut at this point, I just move the playhead to make sure it's positioned here, and I can come down here and do splitting. You can do splitting with the scissors tool, or we can press on letter S to give us that split. So I press on letter S to create this split. So you can see now my clip has been divided into two. The first one is this one, and then the second one is this one. So you can see it's now divided into two sections. Another thing you can do with this very clip is you can select it. You can come down here. You can extract the audio. If you want to extract only the audio of this section, you can click to extract it. You can duplicate the clip, and you can delete the clip at any given point if you want. And then you can crop the clip, mirror it if you want to mirror. You can change it to look the other way, and you can flip it around, maybe along the x-axis. The mirror is along the y-axis, and then you can have fill if you want, and you can rotate as well. You can do both of these from here, or you can just come over to the preview panel. You can just click on it, and you'll have the option to either close on this, or you can come to the edge over here and just zoom in and out. You can see it. You can zoom in, and you have the other side of it to be blurred. Okay, you have the blurry feature, or you can zoom out, or you can do the rotation tool from here. You can rotate accordingly on whichever axis you want to rotate. You can rotate very easily from here. So assuming I don't want to have all this, you can undo, and then bring it back to normal. So this is just a bit about how to do some basic editing, carry out, separate the clips, and then move the clips, or you can even trim accordingly from here. You can just select, assuming you want to trim some of these features from here. You can just come over here, you can click and drag, and you can see you can do what we call the ripple trim. You can see as you are trimming, it is moving the clip accordingly towards the edge. So you just feel free to go ahead and give it a try. But this is some basic procedure on how to do some clean basic editing with VN Video Editor. The next thing that we're going to learn is how to add some B-rolls into the timeline and to position them within our clip or within our timeline or within the video clip. So let's kind of zoom in this one so we can see clearly what we are dealing with. So assuming I want to add some B-rolls, I have imported them from the previous tutorial. I've shown you how to import. In case if you don't have it imported, you can always right click and go ahead and import from file file app, you can just navigate and import. So I've imported mine. So let's start with the images. You can just drag and drop the image just like so and drop it in the timeline wherever you specify. Okay, so you can just select it and you can move it around if you want to specify exactly where you want to position it. So once you have the video clip, your B-roll enabled, you can see it just move from the video up to this and then back to where I'm talking. Okay, so this is just B-roll. So you can increase or decrease the length by selecting it. You can increase or decrease the length of it from here, or you can increase it also from the other edge over here. Okay, until you are satisfied. And you can do some basic cuttings also from here. So you can do basic cutting, assuming you want to create a cut at this point. You just select and move around. Maybe you want to create a cut at this point. You want the video, the B-roll to stop here. So you can just create a cut, or you can press on letter S as well. And it's going to create that cut. So you select the other portion and delete it. You can come over to the other edge over here. So for assuming I want to create another cut here, I just come over here and just click on the letter, press on letter S, and it created the split. You can select the other edge and you can delete from here as well. So you can see you've deleted. So from here, me talking, it just quickly move into the B-roll from me to be the B-roll, and then it stays on the B-roll while I explain on the background, and then back to me talking. So you can see everything. And another thing you can do with the B-roll is you can do a number of things like the flipping. You can flip around, you can flip, you can mirror around, and you can create a fill as well. You can create a mask, and you can move backward if you want. So you can rotate as well from here. You can rotate at any angle. Okay, you can go ahead and rotate if you so wish. And you can duplicate from here, or you can create keyframes at any given point and attach different properties if you want. So assuming this is how to import an image. You can import the other image also. Maybe I want to specify it at this point. You can just drag and drop it here, and you can specify the location and whatever you want. You can rotate, you can select, and you can reduce the sizing from here, or you can just show it. You can select and bring it to this side, and it just pops in while I'm explaining. So for example, I click out, and then from me talking, all of a sudden the media will just pop in. So from me talking, okay, the media pops in and then it pops out. So you can bring in your B-roll at any given point, and you can have them play around with it. So this is images. You can do the same with videos as well. So let's say we select, let's say we click out, and then we come to the video. I want to insert this video. I can just easily drag it and drop it on the timeline. Okay, very easily, just like we have done with the images. You can move around as well, and you can see the video. They get placed with the ice cream. So you can see it comes in and then it goes out. So you can specify the length as well. You can zoom in, out. You can select from here and create a cut. Maybe you want the point to start at where this girl becomes super happy. So for example, let's say from here, once you raise, she becomes so happy. Okay, at this point I create a cut. So you just select the B-roll and then you can split it. Okay, create a split, and then you can select the other edge and you can delete from here, or you can press on delete on your keyboard to kind of delete it. So you can see the starting point. So from this to me talking, and then to the girl becomes surprised, and then back to this feature. Okay, so and you can select and move it around is also, if you want, you can move it around across to anywhere you want. For example, you may want it to have me talking, okay, then to the B-roll, and then back to me talking, and then we can continue. So this is how to bring in B-rolls in terms of video, and you equally have the same features that you can work with. You can put in fix, you can trim, okay, you can trim from both edges, like we've explained how to do trimming. You can crop around, yeah, you can crop from the edges. You can just select, or you can click on cropping, and it will give you the opportunity to crop. You can crop around, you can rotate from this. Okay, you can see you can rotate at different angles. I rather keep it at 0, and you can select free cropping, like you can make it to any of these. Okay, free cropping, you can crop around. You can select free cropping, and then you can move it around to select a given portion that you actually want to target. Okay, so you can select maybe the girl's face, and you can just go ahead and target this, and once you hit on this, it's going to take in this feature. Or you can do 3x4, or you can do 4x5 for Instagram, or you can do 19x16x9 for YouTube. But I usually rather go with the original, but this is just to show you how to play around with the different rotation features. And once you click on this, you're now back to the normal one, the cropping features. So you can do quite a lot in terms of the adding video b-rolls. Okay, so you can move around. Also, maybe you want to add this one as another b-roll. You can just select it, drag it and drop it on the timeline, and you can do some basic editing, extension, or the about. You can extend, okay, to have it cover the areas that you want. You can see, you can select, you can edit, you can position accordingly, however you want it. Okay, so this is adding b-roll to the timeline and doing some basic editing within VN Video Editor. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is how to add text and titles. So to add text and titles into the editing process or into the timeline, all you need to do is to come to the text tab over here. So you have a bunch of them. You have different kind of defaults. You can see them across. You can see different kind of text. You have name description. You can have frames. You can have masks and all this. And you can come over here and have covers. You can have different kind of covers. In cases when you want to make an intro, you can have this as covers and you can edit the text to fit in your content. You have titles, different kind of titles. If you want it to, you can see the animations. As you hover over any title, you see what it does, and as it comes in, what is the basic thing that it's going to do. And you have subtitles as well. You have different kind of subtitles. You can check around and you can import and put according to your content. You have timings, you have marks, depending on what you want to show. For example, I want to explain something about this tea. You can just drag and drop into the timeline. Okay, this is a marker, and you can see not where it just pops in at the text layer over here. So this is a text layer, so you can just move it around so you'll be able to see it clearly. But what I want to showcase is my tea. I want to tell them about my tea, so I make sure I select this, and you can see you can now move it around to anywhere. So I want to pinpoint it to my tea and then bring this explanation over here. You can make it smaller. Okay, you can come to the edge over here and make it smaller. And I want to say something about this tea. Okay, and let's say we make it a bit smaller. Okay, so I can put it somewhere here, and I'm explaining something about this my tea. So I can just select, and you can have the option to do basic editing here. So you can come to select the text, you can come to edit over here, and you have the text enabled here. So you can say this is my tea or my coffee, and then you have some description over here. So this is the golden coffee, newly supplied, okay, to my office. So you can see this is golden coffee. I just highlight it and show the difference. Okay, so you can click out, and then let me show you how it comes in as a key description. So you can just move the playhead around. So once you're explaining, everything comes in, and you can see the explanation. This is my tea. Or let me try to play it again. You can see it very nicely, and then it goes out. Okay, so you can bring in any kind of marker. You can have bubbles as well. You can have different kind of boom bubbles. You can just drag and drop according to your message and what you're explaining. And as you hover over, you'll be able to see the preview of what it does. You have different kind of messaging and memo. You can do all that. But for now, let's do some basic title. Okay, let's do some basic title. You can just come over to this point. And I want to tell them that this is Dr. Rashid speaking. So you can just do basic title. You can come over here, and we can do name title as well. Okay, so let's do basic title. You can just select this and you can insert it. Okay, so you can bring it down here, reduce the sizing to something smaller. Okay, you can come here and say this is Dr. Rashid, and then you can just put in other description, the text too, you can see it. So let's say presentation coach. And then you can have something like date, or if you don't want to have anything, you can easily say, let's say this is January 2023. So you have the edit buttons. You have added everything that you need. You can just click out and you can see Dr. Rashid, and then you have the option also to split and to mask some certain parts, you want to add keyframes, you can do that as well as the duplicates. Okay, let's say we can try to see how it comes in from here. So let's spray it. So you can see Dr. Rashid, and then the dates, the presentation coach, which is the description, and the about. You can see everything is intact. All right, so this is basically how to add basic text in VN video editor and do different kind of things. You can move it around as well, change position that you want. You may change position and move it across to anywhere you want. You can notice that it also stays on the text layer. Okay, so you can feel free, go ahead and give it a try to experience it, put in different kind of things. And for example, this default, you can do name, description, and do anything you want accordingly. You can see a number of them. You can just go ahead and give it a try. But for now, I think that does it for this tutorial on how to add text into VN video editor and do a lot of things with it, do a lot of formattings with it. Now the next thing we're going to learn is how to import music and sound effects into the timeline and do some basic editing as we've started. So to import a music, all you need to do is to come to the music section over here. So we have some inbuilt music. If you have a favorite music, you can see it over here. You want some vlog samples, you can see them over here. So all you need is just to download and have it in your timeline. You can just have it directly imported, or you can have some pop music over here. And you can have some dynamic ones if you are interested in that, and you have fresh music. Depending on your choice, you can just go ahead, download any of them. You can just wait for some seconds and it's going to download it just like so. And you can decide to use it, and it's going to just insert it into the timeline. You can see it has inserted it into the music track or the music layer over here. So you can see, you can just zoom in and out to be able to have a clear properties understanding of what it does. So you can have the beats. I will show you how to use the beats. The beats is just basically how to add different kind of sign. Maybe you have one or two places you need to cut, or you need to make some edits. You can click to add beats. You can see, you can, for example, you may want to trim it up to this point. So you can say up to this point, you want to add a beat. You can see just added a beat, and maybe you want up to this point something to happen. You can just add another beat. You can have the video to run up to this point, add another beat. Maybe you want to cut at this point, or create another cut at this point, you can add a beat. And you can do multiple of things, add it multiply in different places. Assuming I want to add different beats here, and you can move around the beats. Once you select the beat, you can increase the length of the beat location also from here, or you can bring it backward as you so wish. At any given point, you can decide to alter the position, and once you hit on this, it's going to show you that particular beat that you've added on the music track. You can see, you can add, you can see the music track, and then you can do the basic editing features like trimming and cutting and splitting of the video audio clip, just like we've explained how to use it on the video clip as well. So as you select any music track, you can come to the edge of it and do some basic trimming, maybe up to 1 beat. You can see, you can just release it, and you can do the same also on the other edge. You can just zoom out so you can be able to see everything clearly. Okay, so you can come to the other edge, and you can drag and trim it also until this point, maybe until this beat. You can see I just trimmed it. So you can move, zoom out to be able to see clearly. So once you select a given music, you have option to play around with the volume as well. Okay, so you can reduce the volume size. Usually 30 to 35 is good. So you can just give it this point. This is a background music, depending on you and how you want it. If you want to increase it as you're playing the main video, you're playing the audio of the main video, you'll be able to play around with the background music as well, whether to increase or decrease it. Additionally, you can put in fade in and fade out if you want the music to start silently and then text in to the full volume, and then you can do the same also at the ending point. You can put in some fade out so it just dies out naturally. You can do all that, and you can apply it to all of the clips, or you can apply it to just the clip you're working on. All right, so at this moment, I may not want to add all this, so you can select as well, and then you can click on this option. With the option key, you can also trim directly from the option key. You can trim around to different points, and you can play around with the main volume effects also from here. You can increase or decrease the volume. You can also put in the fade in and out also from here, or you can check out the beats and you can add the multiple beats that accordingly. You can see the ones you've added. You can also add accordingly from here and also select, and you have everything added. So you can see this is how to bring in music from the existing templates or from the music that we have within VN Video Editor. If you want to import a music, you can come to my music over here. You can just right click over here and just come to import from a file. You can just click and go ahead, navigate to wherever you have that music. For example, mine, I have it in this VN Video Editor, and you can see music track over here. You can see this lifelike. I already imported it, so you can see it over here. So you can select the particular place you want it to start functioning. Maybe I want it to start at this point, so you can just click on use. Okay, and you can see it has just imported that music track for me. So you can move around. I also indicated some beats around it, so you can decide to move it around and maybe do some cutting. You select it. You can check out the options. Okay, so you can do some cuttings, or you can do some basic trimming also from the edges. You can trim across, and you have it this much. If you are starting with this, or you want to add a given beat at some point, you can just easily drag, move around and add the beats at the various location that you want to add the beats. And once you're done, you click on this and that beat is going to be there. So you just click and you have these two beats that you've just added. So very easy to deal with music tracks. You can select and do basic things over here. You can delete, you can do other things. You can do splitting also. If you want to split, you can extract. You can do all sort of things accordingly. So feel free to give it a try and see what and what you can play around with, and see what and what you can do. You can split at this point. You can decide to split and just delete this portion, or you can move your audio across. Okay, you can move it across and maybe create another delete or another split at another portion. So for example, I may want to move this to this point, and may want to create another split at this point. Press the letter S, and you can see it's been splitted into different kind of sections. Okay, into different number of clips. You can go ahead and give it a try on your own and see what and what you can play around with as regards music. Now the next thing is we're going to learn how to add some effects into the video clips. Okay, so to add a given effect on any video clip, you can just select that particular clip, and you can come to effects over here. So you can just click, and you can come down. You can see you can have different kind of effects. So spinning, you can just click to see a preview of it. You just click. You spend some time with your. You can just click. You spend some time. You spend some time with. You spend some time with. You can see different kind of effects. You spend some time. Okay, so you can see. You spend some. You can see a preview of it, of any effect that you've added. You spend some. You can see different kind of effects. You spend some time. Now, if you select a given effect based on the preview that you have over here, and you want to apply it to the entire clip, you can just say apply to all, and it's going to apply this effect to the whole clip. Or if you want to just stick in, and it's just going to apply it to this very section. You can extend out if you want, and it's just going to add. So once you're done, you click on this. But at this point, I don't want to add any effect, but just to show you how to bring in different kind of effects, this is how to add different kind of effects into the video clip. All right, so the next thing I want us to learn is how to add effects and transitions. So to add transition between clips, for example, I may want to be moving from this clip all the way to this clip where I'm not talking, where you are not seeing me, and then up to this point that I've started to talk. I want to create a connection between them. What I need to do is to make sure the clips are joined together, close together like this, and you can see this plot sign. You just click on this plot sign. For example, you can apply the dissolve effect. You can have dissolve one, and you can have different kind of other ones like blur effect, zoom one. You can check out the rotate effect. You can apply any of them, and you can control the duration of that effect. For example, this one, the duration, you can reduce it from here to 0.5 seconds or 0.3 seconds, or you can increase it as far as 4.9 seconds or 5 seconds. And you're free to apply to the entire clips, or you can apply to the particular junction that you've selected. So you can see as you increase, the transition period is actually taking longer period before it gets to the next clip. But if you make it shorter, quite shorter, for example, something like 0.4 seconds, you can see it's a bit faster faster to get to the other one. So it's very easy. And then you have the matte effect. You can check on the mattes, and you have different kind of presets as well. As you hover over any of them, you'll be able to see this is circle effect. These are transitions as well, but in circle form. So you can select on line effects, and you will see the effect just like so. Okay, line effect. So this is line transitions to the next one. And you have the hexagon. I kind of like this hexagon sometimes to just quickly move to the next one. And you can temper with the duration as well, make it smaller so you kind of move a bit faster. So you can see it's a bit faster. And then you have pent effect. You can see pent effect just kind of flash around, or you have the swirl effect. You can just go ahead and try any of the effects that you have here. We can have glitch effect also if you want to have glitch effect. So you can try on any of them and play around with the duration accordingly so it moves a bit faster and look professional. But basically this is how to add transitions to your footage. So you can come back to the base transition and just select, for me, for this clip, 2 clips, I want to add the dissolve one. Okay, and I want to shorten the duration to like 0.3 seconds. So it moves a bit faster. So I select the tick here to apply the effects, and you can see right now that if I select from here, I play on this media, you can see the transition is quite fast, though it's a dissolve transition. Now the next transition I want to show you is when you are trying to put in a transition between the same clip. Okay, so what I usually do is when I'm working on the same clip, for example on this one, and this is the same clip, and maybe at this point I created a cut here. I'm trying to, this is now 2 clips. Okay, so I'm trying to kind of put a transition between them. What I usually do is I kind of zoom the other one out. Okay, so I select the second one and increase the percentage, or I kind of zoom it in. Okay, so I select the second clip and I can come all the way to this one, select it, and then I can come over here and zoom it out. You can select it and zoom it out so it becomes a bit bigger. So when I'm moving from the first clip to the second clip, you can see it gets a bit bigger. One thing you should just pay attention to is when you are zooming out, you should try to centralize everything so the eye can be at the same point, so the transition will not be too visible to someone. Okay, so you can see the position of the eye. Right now on this case, you have to bring it down a little bit so you can see the transition. Let me play it one more time, but then it just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so let's see. So from this effect to just zoom out a little bit, and then it goes on. Now the transition to the next one also is going to be kind of perfect from the bigger picture to the smaller one. Okay, this is kind of fast. So this is what I do when I'm dealing with the same clip, but when I'm dealing with different clips, I add the transition from the positive sign over here and just go ahead and see what I can do. Okay, so basically this is how to add transition. You can go ahead and play around with it and see what you can add and what you can remove and what kind of creativity you can bring into it. The next thing is how to apply color into our footage. So to apply coloration to your footage or to do some basic color editing, we have a number of presets and we have some adjusting features that we can put to our clip and to make it look better. So all you need to do is to start by selecting any section of the clip that you want to edit. You can come all the way up to the top right over here. You can see this color. You have the option to check in this filter, and you have different kind of filter effects. You can see them over here. Once you select on any, you can see it has just given you that effect. You can select on this and you can see it has given you that effect. These are presets. You have create, you can have different kind of levels, you can have different kind of effects, and you have the option to play around with the intensity at the top here. Intensity value, you can increase or decrease the value just like so. You can play around with it depending on whatever effect you have selected. You can adjust it accordingly. Right, so you go ahead and give it a try to play around. There are a bunch of them. You can see fog effects, and you can go direct to black and white if you want. And you have lume effect. You can select on lume effect, and you can play around with the intensity as well to reduce it, to make it kind of look better, or to increase it just like so. So you have the option to go down to Polaroid and seasons. You can see a number of them, quite interesting. Yeah, these are presets. You can just select on any accordingly. And if you are done with this, you can apply to all the clips. If in cases when you are dealing with a particular clip, you can apply the effect to all the other clips. Or if you want to go on your own back to the original and then carry out your own basic editing or adjustments in color, you can go back to the original footage and you can come all the way here to adjust. And with adjust, you have different kind of features that you can play around with. You have the exposure, the contrast, the brightness, the saturation, the vibrance, temperature, vignette. You can play around with all these, the hue, the shadows, and all that. You can play around with all of them. But for me, for a start, for someone who is a beginner, I try to play around with the exposure at first. I just give it a little bit of touch in the exposure to bring in more shadows, and then I can increase the contrast a little bit, okay, just a little bit, and then the brightness, nearly keep it at, because the brightness is kind of okay here, you can just keep it just a little, +2 is good. And then the saturation, I don't touch much on that. I can just go to temperature. You can see I can just make it a little bit colder, and -2 I think is good. Then the temperature, sometimes I make it -2 is good. So vibrance, sometimes if you notice the coloration is too much, you can just reduce a little bit. You can see if you take it too much, it's going to take a lot of the coloration, but I think a little bit of decentralized point is okay. So you just have to play around with it, with the features according to what you have and what you can do, and in any case you will be able to see the effect as you have adjusted. So you can apply this same effect or same adjustment you have done to all the other clips. You can apply to all and everything is going to take, or you can apply it to a specific clip that you have selected. Okay, so basically this is how to add coloration to your footage to look kind of good or professional, depending on what kind of camera or what kind of footage you have at hand. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to add background, either a blurred background or a normal background with color. Okay, so you can zoom out of the main clip and then put a background behind it. Just like when sometimes you see some videos in Instagram or TikTok or thereabout, you have them with blurry background or some with colored background, and you will be able to add some text also that go along with the video. So to add those kind of backgrounds on VN Video Editor, all you need to do is just select the clip that you're working on, and maybe if you want to make it on this 16:9 clip, you can just maintain it, or if you want to change it to something like an Instagram size, you can change it as well if you want. And for now, let's say we are going to go with this size. Okay, so to add the effect or to add the blurry nature or the background to this very video, you can select the video clip from here, and then you can just come all the way to the clip, select it. Then you can come to the bottom right over here. You can just make a drag around and to zoom it out so you can have this background. So right now it's set to color or solid background. You can see now it's set to solid background. You can come all the way here. You can have this background effect. You have the blurry effect. You can have the blurry effect right now. You can see blurry effect. You can play around with the blurriness. Right now it's set to at 30. You can increase it to more blurry effects, or you can reduce it accordingly, and you can see the effect coming back just like so. The video is going to play, but with the blurred background of the same clip behind it. Okay, you can see a lot of these videos on Instagram and TikTok and thereabout. So you can just play around with the level of the background and background blurriness, and you can equally apply the same effects to all. I think this does it for this one. I like this blurry nature. I think it's okay like this. And then once you start playing, it's going to show the same effect. But then if you want to go to have a colored background instead of the blurry nature of the background, you can just come all the way here to color. You can click on color, and then you can move around and select any color of your choice. Okay, select any color, and then what this means is you can equally add some text around to go with this same effects. Okay, you can add text around. You can come all the way down to text over here, and you can add some basic text like this video title. You can just go ahead and add it, drag it and drop it inside the timeline, and then you can bring it up here to this place. But let's kind of zoom it out a little bit so that it looks smaller. We can bring it down here and then give it a title. So for example, we can select this and just come over here and just give it a title. Let's say this is spending some time with yourself. So you can see the title, and it goes around throughout the video. You can extend this title effect. You can extend it to as far as you want, or you can move it up or down. You can maintain the layer of the text, or thereabout. You can do all that with this. So this is how to add this. Or if you want to go back to the blurry nature, you can equally go back, but then this one I think is good and I like it this way. Okay, so you can go ahead, select any color. Let's say I'm good with this color and I like this. You can go ahead and work with it like that. Or if you want to change the frame sizing of the video as well, you can click out. Just make sure you select the video, click out, and you can come over here, select, and maybe change it to Instagram 101. Okay, and then you can select and zoom out to fill in the other features or the other sites. You can see right now it's much better, or you can even zoom it out to make it fill up everything. Okay, except the title area. You can just leave the title area and just bring this down a little bit, and you can put it on both sides as well, or you can centralize it as you so wish. Okay, so all these are possible, but basically this is how to add background and do some blurry nature and add some blurred color or blurred effect or solid color effect to your video clip. So the last part of it all is how to export your video in any kind of formats that you want from VN Video Editor. So if you want to export your video, you can just go back to, you've done with all the editing features, you've added all the text, you've added all the music and sound effects, you've added all the coloration, you've done the transitions, and you've cut and joined all the basic editing that you need, and you're certain and satisfied with what you have. You want to now export the video in any format of your choice. All you need to do is to come to the top over here. You can see to the top right over here, you can see this export feature. You can see this export feature at the top right. You just click on export and it's going to give you the basic export settings. For example, the resolution, you have the 1080p and you have the frame rate per second, which is set at 30. This is the initial one. This is the automatic. You can go with the automatic settings, which is this one, or you can adjust manually as well. You can go ahead and play around with it. You can go as far as 4K if you want to go as far as 4K, depending on what kind of strength your system has. And then the frame rate per second, you can go as far as 60 frame rate per second, but I usually stay at 30. And then you have the average bit rate, which you can skip at default, 1 megabyte per second, and you can export directly from here. You can just go ahead and specify which folder you want to save. So you can just click on here and it will show you the default folder where it's going to save it. You can specify exactly which folder you want to save. For example, in my own case, I want to save it on this VN Video Editor, and you can select open, and you've now defined the location where you want it saved, and then you can just go ahead manually setting these settings, or if you want to go with the automatic feature, you can go with automatic. But once you're setting with everything, for YouTube you go with 1080 and the frame rate per second 30 is good, and then the average bit rate you can go with 1 megabyte per second, and you can just go ahead and click on export. Now the exporting process has started. You can see the progress bar. Okay, you're free to just wait for it, let it export everything, and then you can try to play it and see for yourself. Maybe try different devices and see how the video looks and how the sound looks on different devices, and if it's okay, fine. If it's not okay, then you can bring it back and do some basic editings. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that does it for the entire tutorial on how to use VN Video Editor for your editing footage, to edit any of your footage at the beginner level. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification buttons to stay connected to this channel for more videos like this. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.